Alright, I guess let's continue my opinion series. Baldur's Gate, fantastic game. Game that was designed by people that have passion and actually want to play a game. And you can see that in not just the reactivity, but how how the Steam charts still have it as the most played game. I don't know. We don't have charts for Xbox or PlayStation, I think. So we don't quite know how it's going on there, but it's a game that keeps bringing people back because there's just so much to do. Modding has also helped revive. Will keep it going, but that it more so is just it's a game that was a labor of love. You see that. I don't have any gameplay for Starfield at the moment. I don't feel like reinstalling it. Starfield, kind of released in the same time period, but it didn't keep the energy nearly as well. Even with modding and many more prominent modders from Skyrim and other Bethesda titles really didn't stick around for Starfield because they didn't see it as a worthwhile thing. Starfield was as wide as an ocean, as deep as a puddle, and it feels like it was much more of a. There were bits of it where you could see Todd Howard wanted to make it, but at the same time, the issue generally comes down to Starfield had its initial release and then dropped immediately after. Baldur's where did had a long time in early access. Its release, it hit its all-time peak, dropped down, but it consistently is keeping roughly 100,000 players. Starfield barely keeps 3,000 as its average. Skyrim. Well, this is the Skyrim Special Edition. With the fact that Bethesda added the in-game mod manager for most of their titles that are like in the vein of Skyrim and such. Skyrim has more active players than Starfield. Not as many at the all-time peak, but you've got more people consistently playing Skyrim than you've got playing Starfield. The original Skyrim, more comparable all-time peak, and then kind of comparable, but it was also outdone by, well, supplanted, I suppose, by the special edition. Avowed. They had their release, and it became more of a, hey, this is a Game Pass game than a let's go buy this game. You can see that in the numbers on Steam. Now, Microsoft and Xbox, they could have their whole thing turned around with the fact that they've got the Oblivion remaster coming in. Oh, come on. They've got their Oblivion remaster. Okay. I think it's a problem that they're going back and remastering a legacy IP, a legacy game. At the same time, I think that it is a ton of work to actually go back and revitalize the game as a whole. I think the issue that they have is they came into the realization we need something because we aren't doing as well. Same with Microsoft. We got other sections of Microsoft, the Obsidian. The previous Pillars of Eternity games that they played, I started playing through. They're pretty good. And this is the similar thing we were promised with Avowed. A more in-depth, gritty game. I did not play Avowed. And then we got... I'd honestly argue this isn't... What we have right now with Avowed, I'd argue, is very similar to the Outer Worlds. Just, I mean, it's the Outer Worlds art style, for better or for worse. Outer Worlds was fun, bit short. Avowed falls into the trend of Microsoft games focusing on bring it to Game Pass and get people to get the recurring revenue from Game Pass. Uh, but you compare that to things like Baldur's Gate that were a labor of love. Cyberpunk launched to a terrible game, and now within the last week, they consistently have a lot of players, 25,000. I've reinstalled it every so often and go back to play it. Starfield, something that you theoretically staying power and consistency to keep people around that a lot of recent titles don't, because a lot of games are designed not for they're not designed for the player. They're designed to push profits. Money counters and pencil pushers have pushed forward in design. What was it? Star Wars Outlaws. Something that had potential fizzled because of Ubisoft's dated design philosophy. I would still say the same with Assassin's Creed Shadows. Fizzled because design philosophy. Well, I'd say Shadows fizzled because they designed it as a hey, we've got two characters that are night and day, and you may enjoy them. You may enjoy one and not the other, but it's a game designed for everyone and no one at the same time. That is the issue. The industry it was looking at Baldur's Gate 3 and saying, how can we disguise the failing of everything else? How can we trick the player bases that we want to sell to buy our overpriced slop, for better or worse terms? Ubisoft is doing their own thing and struggling with it on social media. Everyone is struggling, saying, "Hey, don't expect Baldur's Gate level of style." Baldur's Gate had a budget of 100,000. Oh, 100,000. 100 million. Ugh. I misspoke terribly. It was reported around 100 million, I believe. And yeah, they had a long dev cycle, but that was also augmented by, hey, early access. Hey, let's get this. Let's do what everyone else is afraid of. Let's get our early game in front of players, get their feedback, and build it off of there. Halsin wasn't initially going to be a recruitable player, a recruitable character, but people liked him and they added him in. They altered storylines and character plot lines for what they thought fit better for the narrative they wanted to tell. They focused on what game we want to make versus what game will make a lot of money. Everyone focuses on how do we make the most money as opposed to how do we get something that people want to play. Everyone is designing a game to make money as opposed to bring in players and make a game. The philosophy of make a game you want to play has died off in major uh, publishers, and they want to disguise it any way they can. If you want a good game now, you're either going to get real lucky with AAA, or you're going to look for indie. Okay, so that I don't think it should be counted. Why? All right, so I don't think Source is a game. And we got the outlier of Banana, which is it's a scam thing going around right now, where people will try and gather stuff and sell it for the little Steam cards you get. You know those old like Steam trading cards you get? That's the only reason that's there. Baldur's Gate 3 would effectively be, I think, top 10 if these two drop, because Banana, it's there, it shouldn't. But you got top 3 games that define multiplayer. Well, effectively define multiplayer. Like you've got Dota 2, you've got endless clones of Dota. You've got everyone trying to hop on the PUBG uh, bandwagon of lots and lots of battle royales. Even Apex is up here at number 6. What's Bongo Cat? That was a little browser thing, not a browser, desktop thing. Some of these I don't even think some of these are games. I know Wallpaper Engine's not a game. All right, regardless. What is? Oh, they just launched Oblivion. Okay, I didn't realize that just launched. I didn't watch the live stream. But that's odd to me that Oblivion. Well, I mean, shadow dropping that in the middle of the week. That's a weird one to me. That's really weird. For a game, you'd usually want to drop it on like a Friday. That's really weird. All right, Oblivion's gonna jump up the player charts. I'm gonna say that now. But Oblivion is a remaster. Well, I'm not gonna say remaster. This is not a remaster. This is effectively remaking the game from the ground up with new assets, new systems. It's effectively the Oblivion remake. I don't think remaster is the best way to say it. But that's gonna jump. Come the weekend, that's gonna jump up the charts. But you've got Baldur's Gate 3. That's about where I'm gonna end off today. Until next time, have a blessed day, and throw your thoughts down below and see if we can have a discussion about it.